Hello friends, am I audible? Please somebody ping me so that I can start the session. Yes guys, please somebody ping me. Hello everyone, welcome to Unacademy, India's largest online learning platform. Let's crack UPSC CSE English. Yes, very good evening Vinod. Now before I start the session, let me introduce myself for the people who are new on the platform or who are attending my session for the first time. My name is Alok Ojha. I've done my engineering from Pune. I have been associated with the field of UPSC since past 7 years. I have been through various stages of Civil Services exam. I hold the experience of giving CDS SSB twice. I also hold the experience of exams like CAPF Assistant Commandant and Uttar Pradesh PSC. I'm involved into the field of teaching since past 5 years and I've mentored more than 10,000 aspirants for UPSC. Today we are going to discuss one of the most dynamic topics, that is the revolt of 1857. Now there might be a question in the mind of an aspirant, why one should prefer Unacademy as a platform for online learning. So here are the ample of reasons why one should prefer Unacademy as a platform for online learning. First of all, you'll have daily life classes on the Unacademy platform. Unacademy offers you assimilation of top and dynamic educators of India on a single platform. You can directly interact with the educators. You can clear all sorts of doubts with the educators. Second most important aspect, Unacademy helps to build up your competence by going through live tests and quizzes. And all the courses on Unacademy platform are highly structured in nature and there is a proper timetable through which the courses are being conducted. And one can have unlimited access to the courses on Unacademy platform. Here are the few top and dynamic educators of India from whom you are going to learn through. Yes, Vinay Kumar, hi. Yes, good evening Pragya, good evening Ram Kumar. Now, Unacademy covers the syllabus in a very comprehensive manner and there is focus on each and every aspect of GS. Like there is a proper focus on history, geography, polity, economics, science and tech, current affairs. Apart from that, there is also a proper focus on the answer writing skills as well. Now, Unacademy has also come up with an iconic subscription. Now, what is majorly iconic subscription all about? During the initial days, the preparation is haphazard and an aspirant is majorly confused about what should I read, where should I start my preparation from, which NCERT should I prefer, what approach needs to be developed for the current affairs, what is the importance of answer writing technique. So please do not worry. Unacademy has come up with iconic subscription. So if you choose me as your mentor, please use my code AKOUS. These are the batch courses that have been started. Unacademy has also come up with Unacademy Combat, which is going to be held on 28th of Feb at 11 AM. It is a 45-minute contest. There would be 60 questions and there would be a relative scoring for that. And there are exciting prizes that are involved as well. These have been the subscription courses or special classes conducted by me previously. Yes, Vinay Kumar, for current affairs, you can always read Ojha and Kurukshetra magazine. Okay. Apart from Ojha and Kurukshetra magazine, Vinay, you have asked me the question, sir, which notes should I refer for current affairs? So my suggestion would be, you should go for Ojha and Kurukshetra. Apart from that, you should also go for economic survey and budget properly. Apart from that, for reading the current affairs, you can also go for Pratyogita Darpan. Okay, and all these things are widely covered there. Please also have a look at the forest report. Apart from the forest report, please also have a look at the India yearbook. Hope so, Vinay, I have answered your question. Okay. Yes, good evening, Seema. Yes, guys. So please use my code AKOUS to avail 10% benefit on your subscription. I repeat the code AKOUS. Now let's get started with Revolt of 1857. Now, Revolt of 1857 was not just because of one single reason. And there are ample of factors involved here for the revolt of 1857. Now, let's get started. First, economic causes. I'll give you a small example. I have talked about this example time and again. Now when Britishers came in India, they forced our peasants to cultivate commercial crops like cotton, indigo, opium, poppy, tobacco, sugarcane, jute, and many more. Now, Indian peasants who were already indebted decided to cultivate commercial crops. Why? Because commercial crops are high in demand in the national as well as international market, and they can accrue huge amount of profit. And by the sale of commercial crops, probably their indebtedness will get reduced. Now, for example, if our peasants were forced to cultivate cotton, now the cotton will be going from India to Manchester or Liverpool. From here onwards, it will be going to which place? London. Here it will be converted into a manufactured textile, and again it will be coming back to India. So India was a supplier of raw material as well as India was a marketplace for the finished goods. Okay. Now, in a very systematic fashion, in a very methodological format, India's resources were being drained out of India. This theory was highlighted by Dadabhai Naoroji in the coming years in a book called as Poverty and Un-British Rule in India. It was also supported by R.C. Dutt in his book Economic History of India. Now there were three types of land revenue settlement: Zamindari system, Rayatwara system, and Mahalwari system. Under Zamindari system, Zamindar acted as a middleman between company on one side and the peasant on the other side. Now Zamindar collected the revenue from the peasant and gave it to the company. Now 89% of the revenue went to the company and 11% was kept by Zamindar himself. And it is said that revenue was still very high. Okay. Then came up Rayatwari system. Under Rayatwari system, the role of Zamindar was removed. Company directly collected the revenue from the peasant, but still the revenue was very high. The land was categorized into three categories under Rayatwari system. That is good, average, and middling. The taxes on the land which was quite productive and fertile was very high. The taxes on the average land was average, and the land which was completely barren, the taxes were quite low, but still the taxes was very high. The land which was barren, the taxes was approximately around 45 to 50%, and the land which was quite productive, the taxes were 66%. If the peasant was unable to pay the taxes, what will happen? Their land would be confiscated. Now peasant resorted to money lender for taking the loan, and the interest charged by the money lender was quite high. So peasants were, what we say, there was economic exploitation of the peasant by Zamindar, money lender, as well as English East India Company. Then Indian handicraft industry or rural industry of India was completely paralyzed by the policies that were adopted by the Britishers. For example, now India was also the market for finished goods. Okay. Now what did Britishers do? Now we had our own handicrafts like dhoti and dupatta of Gujarat were quite famous. Chanderi sari, then Kanchipuram sari, Banarsi sari was quite famous. Banaras was known for embroidery. Then regions like Nasik and Moradabad were known basically for glass industry and utensil industry. Shawl and carpet of the region of Lahore were quite famous. So we had our own Indian handicraft, but our handicraft industry was completely paralyzed by the policies that were adopted by the Britishers. For example, if any goods, specifically the handicrafts which were exported out of India, a huge tax was imposed upon them. So what happened? The demand for these, what we say, textiles or these handicrafts drastically declined. Secondly, our Indian market was flooded by cheap, substandard British goods, and this completely thwarted our Indian industry. Then basically it is said that method of collection of the rent was quite, what we say, cruel. Very cruel method was adopted by the Britishers for collecting the rent. So these are the major economic causes. Now let's talk about the political causes. Okay. Subsidiary alliance system, which was initiated by Lord Wellesley, it proved to be quite disastrous for the Indian rulers. Now what is subsidiary alliance system all about? The Britishers would be called as paramount power and the Indian state would be called as protected state. Now, any ruler who is accepting the subsidiary alliance system, in the court of that ruler, British resident would be posted. Who is going to bear the expenses of that British resident? The Indian ruler is going to bear the expenses for that. Secondly, after that, basically there would be certain European soldiers who would be inducted into the Indian ruler's army. And who is going to pay for that expenses? The ruler is going to pay for the expenses. The ruler cannot enter into any friendship treaty with any neighboring kingdom, or for that sake any other European power. The ruler can only solve the internal disputes of the administration. This was nothing but subsidiary alliance system, which was initiated by this person, Lord Wellesley. It is nothing but surrendering of one's sovereignty, surrendering of one's independence. Then comes Doctrine of Lab System. Now, Doctrine of Lab System was being initiated by Lord Dalhousie. And under this system, okay, any ruler who is not having a legal male heir, his property would be confiscated by the Britishers. His kingdom would be confiscated by the Britishers. Adopted child will not be considered as the legal male heir. This is nothing but pro-imperialistic approach, pro-expansionist policy that was being adopted by the Britishers. And hundreds of kingdoms were annexed under the pretext of Doctrine of Labs. Satara, Nagpur, Udaipur, Sambalpur, Jaipur, Bhagat in Punjab, all these came under Doctrine of Labs. Okay, like it is said that Awadh was annexed Awadh was the last kingdom to be annexed under Doctrine of Labs. And Awadh was annexed on what pretext? Awadh was annexed on the pretext that basically Awadh has become, like, there was no proper administrative setup in Awadh. That is why Britishers have annexed Awadh. So Awadh was annexed on the pretext of maladministration. Apart from this, Bahadur Shah was ordered by Lord Dalhousie to vacate the Delhi Red Fort, and he had to settle on the outskirts of Delhi near Mehrauli. Then Lord Canning said that the further successors of Bahadur Shah would be called as prince and not as emperor. Later on, they were also not called as prince as well. Okay, and all the princes had to vacate their ancestral property. Such derogatory laws were brought in the political system of India at that time. Now there was a section of sepoys who were completely annoyed by the policies that were adopted by the Britishers. Now, during the tenure of Lord William Bentinck, there was complete he abolished the double batta system. Now, what is double batta system all about? Suppose if I am a soldier and I am recruited into the Bengal army. Now, if Britishers are waging war outside India, I am also involved in that war directly. So for that, Britishers were initially giving allowances. They were giving extra incentive. So here the Lord William Bentinck, he came up with abolishing the double batta system. And now the soldiers got angry on this. There was complete racial discrimination policy that was being followed in payments and promotion. I'll give you a small example. Suppose if I am recruited into the army as a subedar, I will remain subedar till my lifetime. And there was proper increment policy which was adopted towards the European soldiers. And this was just on the basis of color of the skin. So there was a racial discrimination policy that was being adopted by the Britishers here. Then come religious causes. Let us understand this. Now, as per Charter Act 1813, okay, Christian missionaries were allowed to come in India and preach Christianity. But in the name of preaching Christianity, there was forceful conversion into Christianity. They were given the right to propagate Christianity, but they did not have any authority to force anyone to get converted into Christianity. Now, Britishers came up with few derogatories law. I'll give you a small example. Religious Disabilities Act 1850. As per this act, anyone who is not accepting Christianity or is not ready to get converted into Christianity, he will not inherit his ancestral property. This was felt as an humiliation to various Hindus and the Muslim. There was a taxation system that was adopted on the religious places like temples and the mosque. Then they came up with another important act, General Service Enlistment Act. And what is this act all about? Any future recruit in the Bengal army would have to serve anywhere where the Britishers are going to decide. Previously, there was one mutiny which occurred during the tenure of Lord Amherst, if you remember. And that mutiny is Barakpur mutiny. Now, when Burma was attacking India, the forces were dispatched by land and sea route both. Now, there were Hindus in the British Indian Army, and for them, crossing the sea means losing the caste. And they call this as Kala Pani. And General Service Enlistment Act is against the religious beliefs of Hindus. So this was seen by Hindus as a derogatory act. So these are the major religious causes that was involved here. Secondly comes administrative causes. There was rampant corruption in the companies working. I'll give you a very small example. The first Governor General of Bengal was Warren Hastings. And Warren Hastings was impeached in the British Parliament for the administrative excess that he had made in India. Okay. Now, Britishers now introduced English education in India. And there was a purpose for introducing English education in India. And what was that? Now they required Indians in the administration, because initially the civil servants were trained at Hailbury College in London. Later on, they were trained at Fort William College. Now, these people were hardly aware about the grassroots realities in India. They were hardly aware about the political situation, historical background, geographical conditions of India, and their administrative efficiency and effectiveness was not up to the mark. So, Britishers decided to inculcate Indians into the administrative services. Okay. And now they started introducing English education in India. And now Indians thought that English education in India was majorly imposed on them to convert them into Christianity. Okay. Now Widow Remarriage Act was brought in 1856 by Lord Dalhousie. And major efforts was here taken by Pandit Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. But Indians felt this as involvement of the Britishers or interference of the Britishers in personal beliefs and traditions of the Hindus. So these are the administrative causes. Now I'll give you a small example. Muhammad bin Qasim was the first Muslim invader of India. He was followed by Mahmud of Ghazni. Later on he was followed by Muhammad Ghur, and there was establishment of Delhi Sultanate, under which there was a slave dynasty, Tughlaq dynasty, Khilji dynasty, Sayyid dynasty, and Lodi dynasty. Later on, they were being followed by the Mughals. But each and everyone who came in India at that time, now they wanted to establish permanent settlements in India, specifically from the tenure of Delhi Sultanate. Like Mahmud of Ghazni did not wanted to establish permanent settlement in India. He just came in India to plunder India. But the others who came in India, they wanted to settle down in India. They got intermingled with the cultures and traditions of India. But Britishers, just because of their basic foreignness and just because of their policy of racial discrimination, never treated Indians as equals. Okay? Influence of outside event, that is First Anglo-Afghan War, Punjab War, Crimean War, and Santhal Rebellion. Now basically, tribal revolt. Now let us talk about certain aspects of the tribals. Now each and every section of the Indian society was thwarted by the economic exploitation or the exploitative character of the British rule in India. I'll give a small example of the tribals. Okay, you might have heard about Mundas. Mundas are the tribes of Chota Nagpur Plateau, and these tribes, like for the tribals, their forest is everything for them. They consider this as sacred groves. And Britishers, just in the name of economic exploitation, started clearing down the forest. Now, I'm giving an example of Munda Revolt. Now, Munda considered themselves as the Sardars of the Chota Nagpur Plateau's forest. And now they believed in Khunt Katidar system, that is original clearer of forest, and Britishers started clearing down the forest, okay, just for promoting their economic advantage or just for exploiting the forest resources. So there was a Munda Revolt in this region. Lord Harding, there is a Maria system that is followed by Kand tribe or Kui tribe of Chota Nagpur Plateau. Maria system is a human sacrifice system and Lord Harding intervened in this system. Okay, so this was seen as a derogatory insult or humiliation by the tribals. Then there was, in the Indian Army, there were 6 sepoys and 1 British officer here involved. Now let us talk about the cause of Nana Sahib Peshwa. Now, Nana Sahib Peshwa was the adopted son of Peshwa Bajirao II. And initially, Peshwa Bajirao II used to get an annual pension of rupees 8 lakh. Now, after the death of Peshwa Bajirao II, who should get this pension? Now, Nana Sahib should get this pension. But Britishers denied paying any sort of pension to Nana Sahib. Now, Nana Sahib sent his friend Azimullah Khan, okay, to London so that he could speak with the British Crown there. But he was not given any sort of pension here. So Nana Sahib Peshwa also had an anger against the Britishers, and there was an immediate spark of the revolt. And what was that? Britishers had introduced a new Royal Enfield rifle to the 60th Queen's Royal Rifle in Meerut. Now, this rifle had a cartridge. Now, this cartridge had a coating of fat of cow and pig. Cow was sacred to Hindus and pig was taboo to the Muslim. Okay, now they also mixed bone dust in the flour, that is in the atta. Now this was considered as complete interference in the religious policies of the Indian, and this became a major spark for revolt of 1857. So my friends, did you understand the causes for revolt of 1857? Please let me know. Yes, thanks a lot, Akshay. Thanks a lot. Hope so the points are clear till here. Okay, guys. Now let's talk about how the revolt spread to the different parts of the northern India. Now, by 9th March 1857, the sepoys of 19th Bengal Infantry at Behrampur in Punjab refused to use the greased cartridges. Because why? I have told you the reason. Because the cartridge had the coating of what we say fat of cow and pig. Cow was sacred to the Hindus and pig was taboo to the Muslim. Now when they refused to accept these greased cartridges, the entire regiment was disarmed and a court-martial was being conducted against them. Now on 23rd March 1857, General Greg Anson took a decision that a proper inquiry would be conducted into this matter until and unless till the report comes, okay, the use of these rifle was stopped, okay, but the news of disbanding or the news of disarming the entire 19th Bengal Infantry reached to Bengal, and there was a soldier in 34th Bengal Infantry whose name was Mangal Pandey. On 29th March 1857, Mangal Pandey went on a rampage. He started massacring the European officer, and he was also supported by a co-soldier whose name was Isrul Pandey. On 8th April 1857, Mangal Pandey became the first martyr of Mother India. On 11th April 1857, Isrul Pandey became the another martyr of Mother India. And there was one person who provided the entire information to the Britishers. His name was Paltu Khan. Okay? And Paltu Khan was promoted for providing the information. The news of martyrdom of Mangal Pandey spread like a wildfire, and on 10th May 1857, the sepoys, 85 sepoys of 11th and 20th Bengal Infantry and 3rd Native Cavalry, they gave a slogan, Dilli Chalo. And now they were proceeding towards Delhi. And they declared Bahadur Shah Zafar, who was the last Mughal ruler, as the leader of the revolt of 1857. Now, when they were moving close to Delhi, okay, there was a British commander, Colonel Ripley, who was sent to suppress the revolt. Now, Colonel Ripley came up with few soldiers. Now, these soldiers joined the mutineers, okay, and Colonel Ripley was killed at Delhi. The public welcomed the soldiers at Delhi, and they were also joined by many other soldiers. There was a local infantry in Delhi which also joined them, and that local infantry was led by Sir Simon Fraser. The local infantry killed its own, what we say, commanding officer, Simon Fraser. Now, Lieutenant Willig Boy came in to suppress the revolt, but Lieutenant Willig Boy was also not that competent enough. By now, it is said that since Bahadur Shah Zafar, he was above the age of 80. So, Mirza Zahiruddin, one of the sons of Bahadur Shah Zafar, was declared as a leader of the revolt of 1857. And Mirza Zahiruddin, he hardly had any experience of military expeditions. So finally, General Bakht Khan was declared as the commander-in-chief of the revolt in the region of Delhi. And now the revolt spread like a wildfire, and it became quite impossible for the Britishers to control the revolt. Now what happened further? Lord Canning immediately asked for the forces from Bombay, and he immediately telegraphed General Elphiston. But what happened by now? The forces came here and the forces were subdued. Immediately a telegraph was sent to Lord Elgin to send the troops from Calcutta. 50 members arrived here, but all of them were crushed by the mutineers. And there was one event after which Britishers adopted a very brutal, a very ruthless policy of suppression. And this incident has been mentioned in very few books. This is called as Bibi Ghar Massacre or Sati Chaura Ghat Massacre. Now what is Bibi Ghar Massacre or Sati Chaura Ghat Massacre all about? Let us understand. By now, the entire northern part of India was engulfed under the fire of revolt of 1857. And now Britishers felt that our families are not safe. So 200 European families moved into the Kanpur fort. And Nana Sahib Peshwa came to know about this. Nana Sahib Peshwa came along with 3,000 soldiers near the Kanpur fort. And what happened basically? Now a European officer came as a representative to have a word with Nana Sahib Peshwa. And I've already discussed why Nana Sahib Peshwa was angry with the Britishers. Because he was denied the pension of 8 lakh rupees which was given to his father previously. So European officer and Nana Sahib Peshwa had a word, and as per the conversation it was decided that please give our families a safe passage to Allahabad, and later on we can negotiate on the various issues. Now 200 European families started moving, but there were 3,000 soldiers, there were 3,000 discontented. Now they started attacking the European families. And it is said that this incident is called as Sati Chaura Ghat Massacre or Bibi Ghar Massacre. Okay, either it be a woman, either it be an old lady, either it be children, everyone was massacred. And this event in the history of modern India is referred as Sati Chaura Ghat Massacre or Bibi Ghar Massacre. And after this, Britishers adopted a very brutal policy of suppression. This is nothing but course of the revolt. Okay guys, now I have covered revolt of 1857 in quite depth and detail in modern India. If you see, let's crack UPSC CSE channel of what we say on YouTube and directly search Alok Ojha there. You will get my entire series of modern India, which is in quite depth and detail. I have tried to cover each and every topic in quite depth and detail. So there you can see revolt of 1857 in quite depth and detail. Okay guys, and one more thing, I have covered the leaders of the revolt of 1857 in a very systematic format, in a very depth way. But since this is a crash course, here we are covering the things from prelims perspective. So my friends, it's a request. Please have a pen and paper along with you and note down the leaders of the revolt of 1857. Did you understand the course of the revolt? Yes, please. So it's a request. Is everyone having a pen and paper along with them so that I can dictate the leaders of the revolt, the region and the leaders of the revolt, because there have been questions in the UPSC prelims exam. On one hand are the leaders and on the other hand is the region. So do you have a pen and paper along with you guys? Please let me know so that you can note down. Yes, please. Okay. So please start noting down. The leader of the revolt from the region of Delhi was Bahadur Shah Zafar and General Bakht Khan. I repeat, the leader of the revolt from the region of Delhi was Bahadur Shah Zafar and General Bakht Khan. Then, the revolt in the region of Jhansi was led by Rani Lakshmi Bai. She is also known as Manikarnika. I repeat, the revolt in the region of Jhansi was led by Rani Lakshmi Bai, also called as Manikarnika. The revolt in the region of Bihar was led by two zamindar. I repeat, the revolt in the region of Bihar was led by two zamindar, Babu Kumar Singh and his brother Amar Singh. I repeat, Babu Kumar Singh and Amar Singh. Revolt in the region of Mathura, which is in UP, it was led by Devi Singh. He was a male. I repeat, the revolt in the region of Mathura was led by Devi Singh. Then, revolt in the region of Meerut was led by Kadam Singh. I repeat, revolt in the region of Meerut was led by Kadam Singh. Then, revolt in the region of Faizabad, which is in eastern UP, which is nothing but present day Ayodhya. Okay, the revolt in the region of Faizabad was led by Maulvi Ahmadullah. I repeat, it was led by Maulvi Ahmadullah. Okay, moving further, the revolt in the region of Kanpur was led by Nana Sahib Peshwa. I repeat, the revolt in the region of Kanpur was led by Nana Sahib Peshwa. Okay. The revolt in the region of Allahabad, which is present day Prayagraj, was led by Liaquat Ali. I repeat, the revolt in the region of Prayagraj or Allahabad was led by Liaquat Ali. Please note down guys, this is very, very important from prelims perspective. Okay. Revolt in the region of Gwalior was led by Tatya Tope. I repeat, revolt in the region of Gwalior was led by Tatya Tope. Revolt in the region of Haryana was led by Rao Tularam. I repeat, revolt in the region of Haryana was led by Rao Tularam. Then, revolt in the region of Odisha, to be very specific, the place was Sambalpur. Okay, the revolt in the region of Sambalpur, Odisha, was led by Surendra Sai. I repeat, Surendra Sai. Then, revolt in the region of Bareilly, that is UP, was led by Khan Bahadur Khan. I repeat, revolt in the region of Bareilly was led by Khan Bahadur Khan. Then, in the certain parts of Maharashtra also there was a revolt. The revolt in the Satara was led by Rango Bapuji Gupte. I repeat, revolt in the region of Satara was led by Rango Bapuji Gupte. Revolt in the region of Lucknow was led by Begum Hazrat Mahal. I repeat, Begum Hazrat Mahal. And there was one more lady who was a pioneer, who played a very major role in revolt of 1857 in the region of Lucknow, and her name was Uda Devi. I repeat, her name was Uda Devi. Then, revolt in the region of Hyderabad was led by Sonaji Pant. I repeat, revolt in the region of Hyderabad was led by Sonaji Pant. Yes, Sai Himanshu. Good evening and namaskar. Revolt in the region of Madras was led by Ghulam Ghaus and Sultan Bakhsh. I repeat, Ghulam Ghaus and Sultan Bakhsh. Revolt in the region of Assam was led by Diwan Maniram Dutt. I repeat, revolt in the region of Assam was led by Diwan Maniram Dutt. And revolt in the region of Kolhapur, finally, revolt in the region of Kolhapur was led by Tatya Mohite. I repeat, Tatya Mohite and Annaji Fadnavis. Tatya Mohite and Annaji Fadnavis. Okay guys, so these are the important leaders of the revolt here. Now let us discuss what are the reasons for the failure of the revolt of 1857. Revolt of 1857 was majorly confined to the northern part of India, and it did not reach to southern, eastern and western part of India majorly. Yes, to an extent there was participation, but not majorly. Okay, certain class and groups did not join the revolt. I'll give you a few examples. Like Zamindars majorly did not join the revolt. Secondly, the princes did not join the revolt. Then, not the educated Indians or the modern educated Indians who played a very drastic role in reforming the society, they were not the active participant in the revolt. For example, Rajaram Mohan Roy ji, he had played a very exemplary role in the transforming or bringing in the socio-religious transformation in the region of Bengal. And like Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, there were many more who played a very drastic role, a very dynamic role in drastic reformation of the society. But these leaders were not the participants in the revolt of 1857. Then Rajputana, Bengal, Bombay and Madras did not participate in the revolt. Secondly, communication system played a very major role for Britishers in helping the Britishers to suppress the revolt. Because by now there was telegraph system. By now there was a modern postal system. By now there was development of railways. So immediately the forces could move on from one place to the other place. Okay. Now there was lack of coordination, and there was like basically everyone was fighting for their own cause. Very few leaders were fighting for a common cause. Like peasants were fighting for their own cause. Tribals were fighting for their own cause. There was no major participation of Zamindar, but there were few Zamindars who participated, but they were fighting for their own cause. So everyone was fighting for their personal cause, and very few were fighting for a common cause. Okay. Then we were fighting with traditional weapons like tangis, bows and arrows, and European soldiers were fighting with sophisticated weapons here. They were well equipped with the latest weapons here, and there was no centralized pattern of leadership. Although we have seen that Bahadur Shah Zafar was declared as the leader of the revolt, but there were regional specific leaders here. Okay, and the revolt did not get much support. So hope so you understood the causes for the failure of the revolt. Are the points clear, guys? These are the important facts. Please go through these important facts, because these facts have been asked in the various exams of UPSC, in the prelims exam, CAPF Assistant Commandant exam, Combined Defense Service exam. So please go through these facts. I would like you guys to read this fact once. Yes guys, at 7:30 as a part of special class, I am conducting a sectional test on socio-religious reform movement. So please do attend the test as a part of special class. I will be sharing the link on my Telegram channel, that is Unacademy_Alok Ojha. Okay? Yes, Sai Manchu, what you want me to repeat, please let me know. Please go through these important facts, guys. It's very, very important from the exam perspective. Okay, guys. Hope so. You liked the today's session. Was it informative and interesting? Again, I'm repeating the points, guys. We'll be having a test at 7:30 p.m. on Unacademy platform. A very small test of 45 minutes to 1 hour. Okay? So please do attend the test. It's a sectional test on socio-religious reform movements. So if you like my lectures, please do subscribe to Unacademy and use my code SPOJHA or AKOUS. I repeat the code SPOJHA or AKOUS. Thank you and have a very, very nice day. Bye-bye. Good night.